I see a lot of people who say that they want to, you know, build a business and like retire by 30, retire by 35, whatever it is. And I think it's really stupid. And I think if you're a business owner in general, you should never go into it with that mindset. And the reason I say that is because I think, like, if you really think about it, retirement is, it is to stop working. And if your objective is just to make a bunch of money and stop working, I think there's other ways to do it, you know, that are better than building a business. And you know, retirement is my definition of hell. I say this, you know, having spent with a lot of time with my grandfather, and over the past 2 or so years, just moving around a lot, and you know, I made an effort to spend time, but like, his retirement is my definition of hell, where, you know, he doesn't really, like, technically he doesn't work, right? And so like, working for me gives me, it's like something that I want to do. Like, I do it because I want to. Like, I chose to do this business. I was reflecting on this like yesterday, but my life could be so much easier. And I've had like job offers made to me, right? So by my clients. I've run a business for the last 3 years, by the way, for those who don't know. I've run a software business. I've been offered, you know, 100,000 a year or whatever, like a good salary, and to work, and my life would be infinitely easier if all I had to do was just, I do the tasks that are given to me, right? I don't have to think about what tasks to do. I mean, at least to some extent, right? I think any good employee should think about like how to best allocate their time, but in principle, it's a lot easier. You get given a lot more direction, and you get paid every month, same day, like super stable. Like, it's just, it's infinitely easier, infinitely simpler. And despite that, I choose to build my business. And so, like, I choose this life, which is a lot more complicated, because I want it, because I really, like, I enjoy it. I genuinely do. And despite, like, it has its rough patches, it has its ups and downs, but I think it is the journey that, you know, the journey that I've found incredibly fulfilling so far. I'm not the same person that I was a year ago, and 2 years ago I was somebody else completely. And so it is watching that self-evolution, which I also find really something that I like. And so I don't want to stop that necessarily. I also, you know, I like the possibility of being able to work with so many people, etc. Like, I think the prospect of wanting to retire is so sad, because it means that you are wasting your time to stop doing the thing that you're doing. But the reality is, most of your life will probably be spent working. And so why would you do something that you're looking for? Like, if you think you'll be happy in retirement, man, you're just wasting your working years. Like, find something to work on that genuinely brings you joy. And this, you know, I think this applies beyond business owners, though. You know, I don't think anybody should look forward to retirement. I think the ideal situation is that you're able to find something that is worthwhile to spend your time on. And granted, you know, that's not necessarily easy. Nobody said it was. But I think it is a worthwhile pursuit, at least, to try and find something that you can sit down and say, man, like, I wouldn't trade my life with anybody else. I wouldn't, you know. Do I struggle sometimes with how things are? Because I'd like them to be some other way, like, you know, it sometimes it gets to you. But the reality is, I wouldn't. Like, when it comes down to it, when push comes to shove, man, I wouldn't trade my life for anything. I like it. I love it. I've built it the way that I wanted. And I've been privileged to do so, and I understand not everybody, you know, necessarily has the same thing. But I think it is at least worthwhile to try and pursue some level of gratification in the work that you do. And I don't think that is, like, you can learn to love things. I'm a big believer in that. And I think a lot of, like, it's like if you work on this project, that becomes your livelihood. Let's say you work on a castle, and you take care of the garden and the grounds and whatever, and this becomes your passion, your project. Like, this is your thing. It's so beautiful to find that thing that is yours. It doesn't have to be some big business. It doesn't, like, it can literally just be like making the most beautiful leather wallets, and you can be an excellent craftsman, and you can be among the best in the world, and you could go work for one of the best companies that does, you know, leather craftsmanship in the world. I don't know what those companies might be, but there's certainly designer labels that do that. Or you can do it yourself, and you can still get very well paid, because if you're, you know, if that is your craft, your passion, and the one thing that you do, you will get known for it eventually, and people will pay you more. But it is like, I think, to be able to love a craft so much that you would continue to do it into your retirement, I think is beautiful. Like, my grandmother, who's alive, is, she lives in the countryside, and she takes care of her farm and her chickens. And I think it goes such a long, like, she takes good care of herself, to some degree, and she's full of life, she's full of energy. And I think it comes from having the sense of purpose, the sense of something to do. And I think the idea that we have of retirement, where like, oh, like, I just have loads of money and I get to chill and party and drink and do whatever, it's like that life of purposelessness, like having no purpose, no direction, I think is awful. I think people, I don't know, I wouldn't want that. I think as a business owner, you can't really want that in the long term, because if that's the case, man, like, it's so hard to stick to the business, because it gets hard. It makes you doubt a lot of things, and if you don't love it, it's hard to stick to it. I think that idea of like working your ass off just to stop working and to live this life of no direction is not something I want in the slightest. And people, I don't know, I think people sometimes get a little bit ungrateful. Like everybody contributes in their own way. You don't need the best, biggest, fanciest job in the world to love it. You really don't. You can build a small business and just put and like have pride in your work, and I think it brings you so much more joy. There's this guy, I think, on YouTube Shorts. He works at some pizza shop. I can't remember, some American pizza chain, and he's like been doing it for 3 years. He's really good at what he does. Like you watch him, like, man, he's making the pizzas like he could do it with his eyes closed. And you get comments all the time which are like, oh bro, you're wasting your potential, man, whatever. I think it's Papa John's that he works at, and people keep commenting, telling him he's wasting his potential. And like, I think he's made a handful of videos. I don't know this guy personally. I've only seen a handful of videos, but he said, like, no, man, like, these guys gave me a great job for 3 years. I've loved it. And, like, I got, I love this work. It's, like, he's happy, and he's proud about his work. And I think, like, that's something a lot of people don't have. Like, there's this like famous scene from the Interstellar, which is, I don't know, the main character, I can't remember names, I'm awful at them, but he's complaining about where he is because he's woken up and he's by himself, and the bartender's like, maybe you're so focused on where you'd like to be that you have forgotten to make the most of where you are. And I find that to be incredibly true for a lot of people. That they want to focus on the next thing, whatever. But it's like even so, for context, I love this business, but there were some rough patches. There still are, and there was a point in time where I was serving events to basically make ends meet. So I was doing some catering and whatever. Even in those jobs, like, I liked the catering events. I liked it when there was a lot to do. Like, I don't know, I like to work. I think it is a mentality that it really benefits my life, not because I can work more, but because it makes me really happy. And I think that's, like, I don't know, you get further with that. Anyway, that's a little bit of a rant. But it's a reflection that I've been having, and I think it's a beautiful one if you can share it. And I think this vision of, I want to retire by 35 is bullshit. It's bullshit, man. Yeah, it's not worth it. Don't buy into it.